Hello book nerds, welcome to Bookshelf Bunny. I'm Kim and today is August TBR and July wrap-up. Okay guys, so I had some lofty goals for the month of July. Let's talk about those first. I had hoped to read some heavy hitter books, some big, heavy slog books. Now they're not necessarily slogs because they're bad, but because they're difficult. I got stuck on one and it put me into a reading slump. So I have really not reached any of my goals for July, again. In addition to also becoming further behind in my goal of 100 books for the year. By the end of June, I should have been at 50. It's July, I'm now at 50. So it's a bit of a problem. What I did end up doing though was setting aside the one that was giving me trouble, which was The Silmarillion by Tolkien. And I'm not necessarily DNFing it just yet, although believe me, it's crossed my mind. Because it is good, it's just Tolkien. He's so focused on the description that I really have a difficult time getting into the story, which is the exact same problem I had with the Lord of the Rings trilogy, so I'm not surprised, not at all. I put that down and I picked up some books that were light and fun to help me push through that reading slump that I put myself into. So for July, one of the books that I did have a goal to read was Murder on the Orient Express by Agatha Christie, and that's one I did get through. So that's exciting. And it was really good, guys. If you haven't read this book yet, I've heard that it's sort of an introductory into Christie's works. Read it. The twists, just out of nowhere, totally surprised. Fantastic murder mystery. For my Read Harder Reading Challenge in July, the goal was to read an award-winning YA book. I ended up picking The Girl Who Fell from the Sky by Heidi W. Duro. So this was the story about a young preteen girl who ends up growing up in America, in, black suburb America, but she's light-skinned. Her father's a black man, her mother is a white immigrant, and so her experiences with racism are vastly different than the majority of America. And when she is forced to live at her grandparents' house, her grandmother's house, following a horrific accident that basically killed her entire family except for her, she is thrown into the pit of America's racism, while also coming to terms with the accident that took her family. So it's one part mystery. As the story goes, we get to learn what happened to her, what is this dark, terrible secret in her past, and we also get a snapshot of what it's like growing up in America as a light-skinned black woman. Fantastic, definitely recommend it. Read The Girl Who Fell from the Sky. I also ended up reading The Evening and the Morning by Ken Follett, and this is a prequel to his Pillars of the Earth trilogy. If you're not familiar with the Pillars of the Earth trilogy, it focuses on a medieval town called Kingsbridge and a builder looking to build a grand cathedral. So it's definitely historical fiction, Ken Follett at his best. And this prequel is, not surprising, really good. Although it had one big difference. One of the big struggles that I've had with the Pillars of the Earth series was similar to Tolkien, where Tolkien gets into all of his description about his world and his creatures. Pillars of the Earth had a heavy focus on the building, what it took to build a cathedral in medieval England, and it was kind of hard to get through those parts, but the story as a whole is amazing. And The Evening and the Morning had none of that difficult part. It had none of that heavy description. It had some, because that's what the story is about. It's about building. But it focused more on the character and the character's journey to success and life. There was romance, there was Viking raids, everything. Such a good book. I highly recommend The Evening and the Morning. I also highly recommend Pillars of the Earth if you haven't read that series yet. I also read Forget Me Not by Ellie Terry, And this was a unique story. This story focused on a girl with Tourette's syndrome trying to make her way at a new school. And it was such a unique perspective. She takes it upon herself, based on some archaic advice from her doctor, to hide her tics that come from her Tourette's syndrome. And the more she tries to repress them, the worse they become, and it sends her into a tailspin where she just cannot catch a break at this new school. While simultaneously focusing on her young friend, a boy who is class president, who likes her for who she is. He got to know her, and the struggle that he has between being accepted by his peers and being ridiculed for befriending the weird girl. So fantastic. I loved this book. I have nothing bad to say about it. It was on the short side, but it was pointed and it was impactful, and I highly recommend it. The last book that I read in July was another lighthearted, just fun book. It was the 9th book in a series of unfortunate events by Lemony Snicket, which is called The Carnivorous Carnival. And in this iteration, our 3 Baudelaire orphans are trying to flip the tables on our Count Olaf, and this time they are the ones in disguise. It was fun. It felt like the others, but it's slowly bringing things to their conclusion. And that brings us to August. My TBR in August. I'm hoping to catch up. I am so behind in my reading goals that if I want to be back on track by the end of August, I have to have read 18 books. It sounds like a lot, but I've done more in the past. I just don't know if I'm going to have time to do this time around, but I'm gonna try. So my goal is to read 18 books this month to get back on track to my reading goal of 100. And then hopefully I can stay on track till the end of the year and not get stuck in another ginormous reading clump. One of the books I'm gonna read for sure is Anxious People. This is one I borrowed from my friend Diamond several months ago now, and I still haven't gotten to it because I suck at life. Sorry, Diamond. At A Little Geek, A Little Steek, remember to check out her channel. And I have to read that one. That one is getting read this month, you guys. It's happening. And I'm going to be doing a buddy read with Diamond as well. Together we are going to read One Last Stop by Casey McQuiston. I'm so excited. I've been dying to read that book since I knew it was coming. So that's happening. Those 2 books for sure are getting read. Oh, and also Priory of the Orange Tree. I started that book, so I'm gonna finish it this month. So those 3 I can say for sure I'm gonna read. I don't know what else I'm gonna read to make up my 18 books, but I'm gonna read a total of 18 books. So you'll see. I hope you've had an excellent reading month and not got stuck in a giant slump like me. I'd love to hear from you in the comments. How do you get out of your reading slumps? Please give me some advice. That's it, book nerds. As always, happy reading.